So I was just basically thinking. I had a dream, a really weird dream, and that kind of not was necessarily the start, but I've just been like thinking a lot today, as I do. And one of the main thoughts that came to my mind was I'm gonna start with just David Goggins, right? So I'm not just thinking about David Goggins, not just sitting here thinking about David Goggins, but David Goggins is a person that many people see as like he's just got it figured out. You know what I mean? He's very hardworking. He's very dedicated to what he does and to his life and to improving himself. And he is something that a lot of people, especially men who are into self improvement, look at and in a way look up to. I personally have read his book. I think it was his second book, Can't Hurt Me, and that book I didn't actually read it in full, but it is very interesting to read. I mean, his life is very tough, especially growing up, and he's a warrior for like doing what he did. You know what I mean? Especially if it's all true. I have heard mixed opinions on him. I have heard people that do not like him. I have heard people that do like him, and for various different reasons. I'm not going to get into that today. The main point that I want to touch on is something that he said in one of his interviews, and he basically just mentioned how he doesn't want to be on his deathbed, have God talking to him, right? Everyone's walking up, and then they tell him, this is what you could have been, right? And it's just him, like Navy SEAL, marathon runner, you know what I mean? All the things that he's done, and he doesn't want to walk up to God and God to say, this is what you could have been. And so I was just kind of thinking about that. And I do apply it to my own life, and it is something I talked about it in the last video even, and it's something that you think about, you know what I mean? If I was on my deathbed, would I be proud of the life that I have lived? But the one problem that I have with David Goggins saying that is that it's based in accomplishment, and it almost insinuates that accomplishment means that you lived a more valuable life, or that your life is more valuable than the lives of other people. And not necessarily did he say that, and I'm not saying he said that, but it's almost insinuating like because you did more, your life is more valuable, or because you ran more marathons, you did these things, that is a more valuable life for you to live. And I think that that's a very interesting way to look at things, because I mean, obviously not everyone's going to be David Goggins. In fact, probably 0.0001% of people are ever going to be like that, you know what I mean? Especially, again, if all of it's true. I think it is, at least an overwhelming majority of it. But I think that his work ethic is something to look at and to, in a way, try to emulate in some parts of your life. I think that he's a good person to look up to for some people, and I think that even if he is a bad person, overwhelmingly he has had a positive impact on people's lives, as many people, again, read his books and whatever. And there's people that were drug addicts, you know what I mean? They talk about how he changed their lives, you know what I mean? I do think that overall he has a positive impact. But again, going back to that thing that he said about talking to God and God saying this is what you could have been, I don't know if that is the right way to look at things necessarily. I think that everyone in their lives does different things, you know what I mean? I think that, you know what I mean, Ninja, again, I'm just going to bring him up because he's someone who has made his living playing video games, versus David Goggins, you know what I mean? They're both, oh, in front of God, this is what you could have been, this is what you could have been. Is one life wasted? Is one life not worth more than the other because he did more here, he did more there? And again, all of what he did was just video games, and not just any video game, like the game Fortnite. Like, you die over and over again, there's no lasting impact besides your win record or whatever, you know what I mean? But it was just, they made their livings differently, they had different accomplishments in their lives, you know what I mean? Again, versus Messi, you know what I mean? Messi, bunch of soccer accomplishments. Like, everyone just kind of does different things with their lives. And then again, I'm just talking about the people that got famous. If you look at David Goggins, I guarantee there was someone out there just like him who had the same type of upbringing, who's in the same type of situation, they're doing the same exact type of things that he did, but because they didn't go platform, because they're not really on social media, maybe they didn't write books about it, they're not getting publicized, they're not famous, so you don't see that. And you also don't see the people that did the things that he did and maybe failed, you know what I mean? Maybe they tried to run every single day and they really worked hard at it, except they never won a marathon. I don't know, you know what I mean? There is people like that out there, and there is people, again, you see the success stories especially, you know what I mean? This video even, you know what I mean? Like, the chance is that most people aren't going to see it. Most people in the world are never going to see it. However, at the same exact time, you're going to see a Mr. Beast video that may be pointless, but again, he got famous. Other people didn't. And who is to say that because David Goggins is popular, because he wrote a book, because he did all those things, he is better because it's better when compared to someone else who did those same things. You know what I mean? So again, I was just kind of thinking about it, and how your accomplishments, do they make you more valuable? I don't think so. But at the same exact time, like, when you die, you want to live a life that you were proud of. I agree with that. But do I think that David Goggins, if he was just a dad, you know what I mean? If he just had kids and lived a more comfortable lifestyle and didn't challenge himself all the time, do I think that that life is necessarily more valuable than his life as a Navy SEAL and his life doing all these other things? No, I don't really think that one life is more valuable than the other. I'm not saying just stay home and play video games all the time, right? I'm just saying that if you do read and you do these things, I do think that they are beneficial, but it doesn't make you necessarily better. You know what I mean? You could die right now. You never know. You know what I mean? And you're not going to be better if you did these things and not as good if you didn't. You know what I mean? I think that to a degree it is true. Again, I think that reading is beneficial for everyone. I think that there's some things that are always going to be beneficial, but I don't think when you die they're going to be measuring that. I don't think that they're going to be like, oh, you could have done these things. Obviously you can always do more too, you know what I mean? There's always going to be, you're only alive for so long, and you may not even realize things until it's too late. That's just the reality of life. And I think that you just need to try to do the best that you can. That is all that matters. That is all that ever will matter. But I personally, I don't know if I'm ever going to be doing marathons every day, you know what I mean? Like Goggins, like, it's a crazy thing, and I think that, again, he's someone that you can look up to, but at the same exact time, most people aren't going to do that. And I don't think that because you don't have as many accomplishments or achievements in your life that you're less of a person. And I also think that when it comes to life in general, with achievements, I think that those who lost my train of thought. Main point, achievements don't define who you are. They don't make you more or less of a person. And I think that while it is good to achieve things, I mean, you look at video games, right? I bring up video games a lot, but the point is, like, video games, you get achievements, you know what I mean? You achieve these things, and even though it's in a fictional world and they're pretty much pointless, at the same time, if I was to go read and I read 10 books, even though I have more knowledge, I'm not just gonna say like everyone's gonna die anyways, but like how much more meaningful is one life than another life, you know what I mean? I'm making a YouTube channel. I chose to do that. I'm thinking thoughts and I'm putting them on a camera because that's what I feel like doing. But if I never did that, am I less valuable? Did I achieve less? I don't think so. And again, I think that you should expand, and I think that you should still work towards being a better person, do things that make you happy, do things that help you live a more valuable life. But I don't think that you should measure your life on achievement and measure your life based on the things that you do. I think that you should measure your life on how happy you are and how you can make your life the happiest life that you can have. I think that you should prioritize your happiness, your well-being, and if it means going and running marathons and writing books and becoming a Navy SEAL, then go do that. But it's different for everyone. Everyone's living their own lives, and not everyone is going to die with an overwhelming amount of achievements, and it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. I don't think, again, the afterlife is not going to be, oh, you achieve more, you achieve less. So overall, just do the best that you can, work hard every single day, and do things that make you happy. And maybe you do have some achievements, and maybe you do work hard, but there's nothing wrong with just living the life that you want to live. And I think it's important to define that, because I think that in a world with overwhelming technological advancement, it's very easy to get lost with what you really want. You know what I mean? You feel like you want VR, you feel like you want all these things, but at the end of the day, what really makes you happy might just be sitting outside, being in the wilderness, and doing things that, again, really make you happy and really have value, even though they may seem boring at first. But yeah,